Good morning, everyone. Icy here, aka James MacCarthy. I'm running for President of the United States. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some quick talking points. I'm not going to give out any long speeches because I have a tendency to put my foot in my mouth on more than one occasions when I'm doing that. So I've got a list here. I'm going to talk about each one, and we'll make it real quick. The border wall and illegals. If I'm elected President of the United States, we're going to continue to build the wall, and then we're going to have a secondary wall, which will be a chain link fence about 10 to 12 feet high, and it's going to be interspaced with, and it's going to sound cruel, machine guns linked to motion sensors, and if anybody crosses over the wall, tries to cross that 300-400 yard gap between the second wall and the first wall, well, the machine guns will take care of you. We have to make this country secure. I'm personally getting tired of our nation supporting all these illegals, and we're not supposed to be the world's piggy bank. And at present, there are over 20 million illegals in this country. And just under the Biden administration, these past few years, it's over 5 million have crossed into the United States. So that goes to tell you how bad it is. Another issue is people talking about reparations for the blacks because of slavery. Well, suck it up. You were never a slave. Your parents were never slaves. And to be perfectly honest, if you're going to play that game, the Irish were here in this country before the blacks, and they were slaves. So are you going to give the reparations to the Irish? I mean, it's already well documented historically, so let's not play foolish games. You know, you're pounding sand. Drag queens. If I'm elected president, any drag queen that's caught doing provocative dancing in front of children will be arrested for pedophilia. Period. Children are off limits. Period. The human brain's not even fully developed until around the age of 24, according to some scientists. I'm not one, so I'm going by what they say. But if that's the case, then these kids that are claiming to be transgenders, claiming that they have to have these children sexually mutilated to become something that they're really not, that's got to end. And if I'm elected president, we're going to make it a law that you cannot transition to a different sex until you're an adult and you're legally able to vote, drink, and pay for your own bills. It's simple. It's very simple. So let's go there. Right now we have several places in this country that are promoting the use of drugs by providing free of charge paraphernalia. Narcan, they got crack pipes in New York City. They've got safe spaces for people to do drugs. That shit's got to stop. If you're doing drugs, you should be placed into a hospital. You should be sobered up. You should be corrected. You should be having your issues straightened out so that you don't do drugs. The promoting of drugs and allowing of drugs is on par for what the communists did back in 1917, 1918, 1919 time frame after the communists took over Russia. What they did was they implemented where everybody received a ration of vodka. Why? Because it's easier to control a population that half the time is drunk. If you're sober and can think clearly, then you're a threat to their way of life, which is why the communists under Stalin killed over 20 million people. All right, next one. Education. We're getting rid of Social Security. We're going back to teaching history. We're going to reduce the number of liberal art courses that are in schools, and we're going to reinstate shop classes. Not every student wants to go to college. Not every student is cut out to go to college. So what we need to do is we need to get them to focus on what they want to do. guidance counselors are supposed to ask the student, what do you want to do, not tell them what they should do. And that's the problem. Guidance counselors right now are being forced, I'll say forced, but they're telling kids that you need to go to college, you need to take liberal art courses. Well, I don't believe that's true. I believe we should start stressing the trades, because we have a shortage in this country of skilled tradesmen. And you have to look at it financially. You go to a college right now, 4-year degree, and some kid says, I'm taking a degree in philosophy, or I'm taking a degree in physics, or whatever. There's no guarantee you're going to get a job that's going to pay you a decent amount of money to pay off that $200,000 plus loan that you took out. So if you go to a trade school, a lot of these companies that offer kids to go to trade schools will actually pay for them to go to the training, and then you agree to work for them for several years afterwards, and you wind up being out of debt very quickly, and you start making over $50,000 a year. A lot of these kids coming out of college now with a 4-year degree, they're lucky if they can make $20,000 working at McDonald's. Let's see. We are talking about student loans. No. You knew what you were getting into. You agreed to take out the loan. You researched your school. You researched the cost. You know what you got into. And now you expect to be bailed out because you made a poor decision? You're making a poor decision, but at the same time, you expect the same degree. If somebody pays off your loan, you don't deserve that degree because you didn't earn it. Earning it means working for it, means paying off what you purchased. You purchased that degree with your blood, sweat, and tears. Well, time to grow up. It's not my responsibility to pay off your college loan because you chose that career path. You could have gone someplace else. So, no student loan payoffs. The national debt. Why don't we just freeze it? Why are we spending more? You're talking trillions of dollars to save 1 or 2 trillion over a 10-year period. Just freeze the current budget. It's not going to increase it, but it's not downsizing it. You're freezing it. The other thing that's going to help the debt is military contracts, for one, government contracts. Overall, you have companies that bid for contracts for the government. Now, these companies say for 28 million or 50 billion, whatever it is, say they're going to produce a product. But then they go over their estimate. Why should the government keep paying them when they haven't kept their end of the bargain? We shouldn't be paying for a company to build airplanes that tell you 50 billion to build X number of aircraft, and then they turn around and, we need another 100 billion because it cost more. That's on you. That's not on the taxpayer. You agreed to a contract. You have to follow through with the contract. So if I'm elected president of the United States, we're going to review all these contracts. These companies that have gone over budget, that have exceeded their time frame, they're going to have to pay the government, not the government pay them. And that's one of the things that I would recommend if I was elected president. The other thing, too, is downsizing of the military. Why? Under COVID, you guys wound up kicking out 5,000 trained troops. And then when the current defense secretary was asked, why aren't you reinstating them at their former ranks and give them their back pay, because it's been proven that the COVID shots are all garbage anyway, his statement was, well, they can apply to go back in. No. You screwed up. You should be begging them to come back, not willy-nilly just, I don't care. This country right now is on the cusp of a world war. China is pushing buttons. Russia is pushing buttons. And we don't know if things are going to escalate any worse than what they currently are. But one of the things we definitely need is we need to have a strong military. You cannot downsize the military. They're getting rid of ships from the military because they're saying they're old. I'm sorry, I was in the 90s, I was on an Aegis cruiser, and we carry 140 missiles plus. And I don't see how that is considered being obsolete. We had one of the best radars going. Just fix the ships you currently have. Don't downsize. You need to upgrade. You need to increase. Because China right now has got over 400 ships, and they're still going strong. So we have to worry about how we are perceived by possible aggressors. And that means we have to have a strong military, regardless of what your personal beliefs are. And in regards to the military, if I'm elected president, I've seen other countries do it, and we used to do it, and we stopped because an all-volunteer force was actually more beneficial for our country because you have people that want to serve. But now, because of the recruitment issues, they don't want to allow people in because they're overweight, or they have bad habits, or they had a criminal charge against them. So if I'm President of the United States, one of the things I would recommend is we have to reinstate the draft. You will be in for 3 years. If you're overweight, I guarantee you, after 16 weeks of boot camp, you're not going to be overweight anymore. And that's going to be a benefit for you. It's going to be a benefit for the country because not only that, I mean, if you think about it, these kids are coming out of high school and that, they don't really have skills. You go into the military, you go to boot camp 8 weeks, 16 weeks, whatever the boot camp is, but you also attend a school. You're going to come out with more knowledge than when you went in. You're going to come out with a skill that you didn't have before you went in. And that makes you marketable on the outside. So it's actually a benefit for, the country, and it's also a benefit for you personally to serve time in the military. It won't kill you, trust me. I'm retired from the military. Now, let's see, what's it? Voter ID cards. From what I understand, we're the only country on this planet that does not have a verified, certified voter ID system. Why is that? It's very simple. Because you have an open border that allows illegals to come in, and like here in New York State, they don't talk about it, but the state actually endorses illegals to vote, provided they vote for Democrat. Now, I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, but if you've got an illegal making decisions for you, the citizen, then what's the sense of being a citizen? Makes no sense. You need a verified voter ID system. You cannot be mailing in your vote because anybody can sign your name or sign any name, get something off of a tombstone, give a fake address, mail it in. Oh, hey, they voted for me. Wrong. If you can't vote in person, don't vote. The only people who are going to be exceptions to that are going to be military personnel that are stationed overseas. I don't care if you're a civilian overseas or not. No. The only exception to voting in person will be military personnel overseas, or if you are in a hospital, laid up. Because if you're in a house and you're laid up, guess what? They put you in a wheelchair, take you and then you can vote. That's all crap. I don't want to hear this. You can't do it. You can. You're just lazy. So if I'm elected President of the United States, that's one of the things we're going to do. We are going to ensure that you have a voter ID card, a national guaranteed foolproof voter ID card. And you have to vote in person. You don't go in person to the polling place to vote, your vote don't count. That's that simple. You have 331.9 million people that are in this country. And only 80,000, 80 million, whatever, vote? No. it's because people have gotten lazy and they don't really care. They do the status quo. So, no, we're going with a voter ID card. Let's see. Education, student loans. Yeah, that pretty much covers it for my little short I want to run for president speech. And I know that you people are probably not going to vote for me. I'm declaring myself as a write-in candidate, James MacCarthy. I'm declaring myself as not going to play the political game that we see throughout this country. You spend millions of dollars in advertising, in filing fees. For what? Good example. You're talking about a budget. You spend $4 million to run for political office, presidency. All right, well, you spent $4 million to get in office. You're only going to get paid $1.2 million for your 4 years in office. So you are already taking a $2.8 million hit into the negative numbers because you already lost money. So if you're going to have that mentality where you already know you're going to lose money going into this, but you want the power that the office holds, you're not doing it for the people. You're doing it for your ego. I don't care who you are, a Democrat, Republican, Independent. The people should have the right to run without having to play the political pandering game of you have to pay to play, which is what you're doing. So I'm posting this on YouTube. I've got friends that are sharing this. I'm hoping you people will share it too. And let's see if we can't put a dent in the political hierarchy and start letting normal people, well, I'm kind of abnormal, but normal people have a voice. I'm retired from 2 jobs. I've busted my ass ever since the age of 8. I'm 65 now, so if I were to run, I'm not going to get, and I win, I'm going to get out of office at 70. But you know what? I don't need the money. I'm doing it because I just hate the system. And somebody's got to throw a monkey wrench at it. We got to start shaking things up. So, once again, my nickname's Icy. My name's James MacCarthy. I'm a write-in candidate for President of the United States 2024, and I hope I have your support. Good day.